we people, why we have polarized views on technologies and AI is because on the one hand, we love magic. This is why we go to different performances. I was like, oh, how people can do that. And now we look at the technology, how technology can do that. It's very, very, really attractive. And that's fine. But we also need to be very mindful what is the implication if we don't understand what's really going on. And this is why the fear of AI is so popular, not only in the TV, but also through the news and if you would speak with people that are a little bit more distant from technology.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Engatika's interview series. I'm your host Palak and we are really glad to have you join us today. Today we have Professor Agnes Steig, hyper performance and human artificial intelligence expert on the show. Welcome Agnes.
Hi.
We are really glad to have you join us today. The Engatika interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world, a platform that provides the latest news on AI, automation, and technologies that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community, learn, share, and grow with us. So, Agnes, just to start off with the questions, what is hyper performance? Is it about adding more training?
Not at all. So typically when managers and leaders look at performance of their teams, their own performance, their performance of organizations, even the governance, when they look at the performance of the cities, for example, they typically think, well, we would like to perform better. And then the next thing that comes to their minds, well, most likely our people are underperforming because they don't have enough skills, or they don't have enough experience or practice, something like very kind of a common thing that people would naturally deviate towards, like thinking about that. And I say, well, it's fair enough. Yes, you can add more skills, more training, more experience. That's fine. It definitely improved the performance. But I raise another question. Is there a chance that there are some barriers, hidden barriers in a human nature, that no matter how great experts you have on your team, their performance goes down, not because of their skills and expertise or the lack of, but because of some other reasons? And that's the point. The point is people make decisions, and they make thousands of decisions every day. And if there is something in their decision-making or something in their thinking or the mindset that is counterproductive, they can be the best programmer on your team, but then they come to the work and they say, well, I don't like this new process, how we deal with finding errors in our system. I don't like it. I like the old one. That means it can be the best coder on your team, or you have a group of coders. But if they don't believe that your new initiative that you proposed as a leader to your team, that we're going to do things differently, and they don't feel in alignment with themselves, their performance will go down, because they constantly will be into disagreement, into opposition internally. And they oftentimes, it's a human nature too. They would like to say, well, let me see how it goes. And they don't express their opinion. And especially, it also depends on the leadership style. Some leaders are not inviting, they are not opening the space for people to express their opinions. And therefore, people that are experts would kind of silently see how it goes. But that naturally would cause their inner conflict. And that inner conflict would reduce the performance. So therefore, I think it's a huge, huge opportunity for so many people that are managers, executives, and leaders and governors, is really paying attention. It's not enough that you add more things. It's equally or sometimes more important to see, is there any chance there are barriers? And there are. We know humans are quite sophisticated and they can come up with different kind of reasons, excuses, and so forth. Those are kind of a visible thing. But there can be deeper rooted mindset or even cultural things that if they are not rearranged, improved, upgraded, then I would say you're not going to go above what typically what people refer high performance, and you will not get to the hyper performance. And hyper performance is about removing these barriers.
Right, those were some amazing insights. How can it remove the root causes of human thinking?
And this is how we get more practical. So how to do that? Number one, as I said, answering the first part, we don't see them directly. we cannot see currently, I guess. We cannot see what's happening in the brains of the people.
Right.
Of course, we can see through the EEG some activities. This is how we, as a neuroscientists, we are exploring, okay, how the electrochemical signals are emerging here and there, depending on what the people think about. But generally speaking, we don't have tools, we don't have technology to kind of immediately say, okay, I see this person comes into the room and I see the person has this contradictive thinking and the mindset. Okay, let's deal with it. We don't have that. So therefore, until we get there, and we are getting there, there are experts working on the Neuralink, for example, about the chips in the brain and other kind of fancy technologies, and those are going to get better. But before that, we're going to need to use a combination of our expertise and managers and leaders and executives and artificial intelligence, because we have, and typically organizations have, big data about their employees, their performance, how they use their systems. For example, let's take a sales team. So what they use, CRM, customer relationship management tool, and all of the things that they do are tracked in the log files. And this is how we can see whether some of our salespeople are more actively using the new system or some are less active, and maybe they have shifted their behaviors because of unknown reasons. So therefore, we can get some of the indications from data. And then we see that our team, for example, sales team, is kind of falling into three groups: very active, very positive, very self-driven. And then there can be some people who are reducing their performance for whatever reason. They kind of fall into the completely other end of the first one. And then there are people in the middle, somewhere there. And we'll get there into the next question too. But now, once the data exposes us that they have this segregation of the three groups of people, we definitely need to look closer, especially into those that are underperforming. And then AI and big data indicate who they are, and then we need to have a conversation. And of course, there has to be also very structured, very prepared. It's not just like a very open conversation. You still can start with open-ended questions, but then it would be always advisable to prepare questions that seemingly is about the content of the work, but practically would extract the underlying mindset that is kind of, that is the barrier for the people to perform better. So that's is the way, and it has to be in iterations. So the data tells something, then you go and speak with people, then you measure, and then you try to guess or try to extract what could be these reasons, what could be this underlying thinking. And then that needs to be revised and double checked also with the other people and with the collective and the culture. And then again, after some time, you can do some improvements and you can do some additions to the work. You can do some changes into how people relate with their tasks just to overcome these barriers or remove them. And there can be many ways. It can be, again, physical, face-to-face kind of thing, which is quite old-fashioned. I would recommend using the same platforms that they use every day. And there is a whole field, a scientific field and a practical field, which is all about, it's called, depends where you come from. It can be called persuasive technology. It can be called socially influencing systems. The way how system is not only giving you the primary task as reporting your connections with your clients, but also it can unobtrusively have design features that are instinctively telling you what are other salespeople doing, and they are doing the things better than you, and you kind of can learn from them. You can compare yourself with them. So all of this kind of a social influence principles can be introduced into their daily experience as a secondary priority, besides that you're doing your sales work. And I think it's a very fascinating and very powerful tool, which is oftentimes neglected. So typically managers would think, well, if people are underperforming, we can use two things. We can use carrot as a reward, or we can do the punishment as a stick. But these are very limited, and we know that. And the whole scientific literature has already proven that. Social influence, how we are hardwired to relate to other people, much more persistent, much more long-term oriented.
Amazing. I think managers all around should listen to your advice. So how does the Circle tool help manager to achieve hyper performance?
So this is when we now get to do things. Did I mention the three circles, the three groups? Yeah, here they are, the self-driven ones. So if they, for example, the new CRM system is introduced, they are these early adopters, and they're going to go and say, okay, I believe our leadership team, I trust them. This is a better software. We're going to use it. It's going to be fine. Of course, it requires adoption and kind of, okay, we need to rearrange the new interface and all that stuff. Then there will be people who are, I name them self-contained. Generally speaking, they would say, no, this new system is not going to be better than the old system. No, I don't believe it. I'm not going to use it. It's pointless. So and what really makes a difference between the red circle and the yellow circle, because the yellow circle is also hesitating. They kind of, I'm not sure. I don't know how it goes. I don't know what other people think about. Maybe it's going to be the same as we did it 3 years ago with another software. So they are more like hesitating. And none of these, like the green ones are using the new software, but the yellow ones and the red ones are not. But there is a huge, huge difference between these two, where red would be openly expressing their opinion. They would argue for it and would say, no. This is what the new system is, not as good as the old one, and exactly they would be open about that. Whereas the yellow circle, which is the actual target audience for any leadership team to take them on board, is that they would openly say, yes, I agree, we need this new system, but they're not going to use it anyways. So there's this contradiction. So when they are asked, they say it's a good idea, but when you look at their performance, look at their behavior, they are not actively using it. And what's the magic and why you see there is this intersection between the kind of the green color flows through to the yellow circle? That's already the future state. This is the gate. And this gate typically is closed. So people who are hesitant, they don't see those people that are well performing and that are happy to use the new system. And this is what I mentioned in the previous question. If you build in their user interface an opportunity for the hesitant people to see how frequently some of their colleagues are using the new CRM system, how they are entering the data, for example, how quickly after the call with the client they are doing it, how refined is their text, for example, not going to the details, but more like quantified perspective. And if that gate is that interface, now, if there was a barrier in some minds of the yellow people saying, actually, I'm not sure that anyone in my team is actively using it. And that's a perception, that's a mindset. And it comes out of nowhere. So it's people can create their own answers. But now the system actually tells them, they log in and they see, there are, let's assume there are 20 people in a sales team. Oh, there are actually 7 people very actively every day, immediately entering the data into the new system. And that takes this data-driven feedback, instant feedback loop, is taking away all this unnecessary inner creation about the answers to the questions that are just imagined. So this is the very powerful, and this is the tool what every manager, every leadership team member can use. Number one, you need to know. You need to know how many people you have here, how many people you have here, and how many there. Very important thing is it depends, not general. You cannot apply saying, okay, if the person is good at entering the CRM data, that means the person is also very self-driven in arriving to the meetings on time. The same person with regards to the meetings can be read. Say, okay, I don't see the point in coming to the meeting. So it's very important to remember it depends on a very particular behavioral choice. And we can ask that question about behavior, and then our people would fall into one of these 3 circles. Number one, using this tool, you know how many you have here and there. And then you can make much more informed decision exactly how you can do it. Of course, sometimes people would measure one particular choice or behavior of their employees, and they see nobody here. So that means there is something fundamentally wrong. But typically there are small percentage, 10, 15, 20. And that means the next circle, if you have, for example, 35, you don't need to work on this, which is a typical trap. Most of the things would, even if you look at the health campaigns, smoking, for example, or inactive lifestyle. So people would look at the very far end here and say, okay, let's start with these heavy smokers, and they fail. No. You just use a social influence here and you just grab it. And what it brings more people into the green circle. And the more people you have in a green circle, it's like a gravity. It has higher gravity. And the more people are pulled into that. It's a very, very effective, especially if it's designed through technologies. And technologies can work like this. And we've done that at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, about the bicycling in the cities. Have been done in the organizations about people arriving late to the meetings, and many other examples.
Right. I'm sure the diagram will help understand the audience, will help the audience understand the concept a lot better. So what is the vectorial model?
So that's very important, especially addition to that knowledge that people are very creative. They can come up with excuses. They can come up with self-justifying ideas. Let's take the same example. People arrive late to the meetings. If you would ask, generally, everyone would say, they would say, no, it's good and it's better if everyone is on time. That means we are more efficient. So our meeting productivity goes up. What typically happens is, or not typically, but oftentimes, if this is the vectorial model, and it's very simple. 5 arrows, one is green, 2 are yellow, and 2 are red. The green one is vision. Where do we want to be as a team? Let's take the same example of, arriving late to the meetings. Very, very present in our society, in many societies, in different ways, but still. And if this arrow means in the future, we would like everyone to be on time to every meeting. It's very kind of ideal, but let's put it here for today, for the example. What happens? People have their own opinion, or they have their own circumstances. And if there is a person who believes that if somebody calls me and that call is important, I will continue the call no matter what, and arriving to the meeting on time is less important. And this is how they create their perspective. And that could be one of these yellow arrows. For example, here, people as a major excuse says, I had an important call. And you can see that. If they come to the meeting late and you ask them, oh, why are you late today? Oh, I had an important call. Like, very typical situation. And you can have another one. For example, there is difficulty to move from one building to another building. Again, that can be a more environmental and less attitudinal, but still there can be this map. And most important is to put on these arrows more frequent, more typical excuses that people have given before. This maps out the territory. And again, the further you go down here or to the other side, these red ones would indicate already people that have the opinion of saying, these meetings are too long, we don't really get any points, so this is why I come late. I come late because I don't believe we can actually achieve some good result. Mapping out this territory helps to put it in front of everybody in the meeting room. And every time somebody comes late and says, oh, it was because I had a call, and you pointed, this is where you are, and you are bringing our collective performance down from where we want to be down to this arrow. And geometry is very straightforward. This is how it goes. So if the people move away from their collective goal, they are putting everyone, all the team, on a different trajectory, on a different path. And you see, geometry is very, very simple. You moving here and not moving there. Of course, you can change your mind and you can shift and say, okay, now I changed my mind. Everyone, we can come here. Yes, you can do that. So there is a way, but you see the length of trajectory is more comparing to the direct path. Very simple. People can use it for their own personal changes. For example, if people would like to be more active or learning a new language, you can put it here. How many minutes do I invest every day for whatever activity I would like to change in my life? And then also be honest. It's like an honesty mirror. And if you don't have, and if the teams don't have it, everybody just expressing their opinions. And we already learned opinions can be anything that comes to your mind. These tools like this and tools like this, simple, straightforward. Number one, helps to structure the information. Number two, gives instant feedback about how do we perform, and immediately raises very honest question: do we want that? And if we pull out every meeting this and ask everybody, do we want this? Do we want this? And people say, no, we don't want this. And then as the more people say, no, we don't want this, then it kind of separates out maybe these red people, and they will be more and more distinguishable also on a practical daily basis. And then if we have an organization, it's very simple. It's a contractual agreement. And if you don't like to be with us on every meeting on time, then maybe you need to go somewhere else. So these are very, very, again, proven, being applied into the many contexts, into the many continents and organizations in different settings, and they work.
Wonderful. Last but not the least, are there any other sound bites you'd like to share with our audience?
Oh, there are many. Number one, I have a YouTube channel. So if you want to really dig deeper into the intersection, how humans and technologies can be united in the most effective ways, this is the holistic area which I have been working. I've been working in industry before, and I was working as a sales manager, as a customer relations department manager, and so forth. And then I thought, well, maybe there is something deeper that I don't know. So I went to do my PhD, and I went into this kind of rabbit hole with the behavioral science and technology design. And now I come out and I say, okay, understood. Now I can translate it so that it helps the governors, the managers, the executives, and individuals. One thing that currently really arrives to everybody is, let's take the example, ChatGPT. Very powerful, very impressive. I went to see their website yesterday, say, oh, we are at the capacity. So that also tells that everybody is drawn into this fascinating, magical experience. And that tells—
that happened with me today morning.
Yeah, exactly. And it's inevitable. We people, why we have polarized views on technologies and AI is because on the one hand, we love magic. This is why we go to different performances. I was like, oh, people can do that. And now we look at the technology. Oh, technology can do that. It's very, very, really attractive. And that's fine. But we also need to be very mindful what is the implication if we don't understand what's really going on. And this is why the fear of AI is so popular, not only in the TV, but also through the news and if you would speak with people that are a little bit more distant from technologies. My storyline goes like this. And let me tell you the end of the story before I tell the story. The end of the story is we don't have separate intelligences. We have united or unified intelligence. And we, some of us, just decided to separate them for whatever reason. And that causes a lot of unnecessary trouble, unnecessary ways how people also, their mindsets, like common person will look at it, oh, no, AI will take off, take the whole world and it's going to be disaster. And just, right. they just don't have holistic perspective on it. So here it is. A long time ago, the story goes, people, as they evolved, they realized, well, if we do cooperate, then kind of we are better off. So we kind of, that's why actually Homo sapiens survived and some others, Homos, didn't. And number one, what helps us to cooperate is exchange of information, very basic thing. So how we can exchange information? Let's create something. So what do we create? We create language. So we kind of concepts that we express and the other person understands what did they say. Next thing is, well, it works good, but it really requires a lot of effort. I need to go and talk. And then if the other people are far away, I need to walk a lot. Though, what would be the next? Okay, maybe we can write. So in writing. So speaking, next is writing. Okay, we make it more we improve the performance of communication and information sharing. The next is, well, we need to write all the time. So hands get tired and everybody is not that happy. So how can we improve this? Printing. Next, okay, we printed a lot of things, but they are scattered all around the world. And what can we do? Libraries. Okay, let's put them in one place. So if people want to get smarter, okay, we go there. Next thing, technology. What do we have? Internet. So we have all the access to that. Next thing, we have algorithms that look at this intelligence and make more understanding or more refined viewpoints or more detailed perspectives. This is what we have. This is artificial intelligence. It looks at what we have created and create more of it or create something from it. It's still the ChatGPT-3 is exactly that. It looks at what people have created and based on that creates something else. And if you see this trajectory, it's the same intelligence. It's just another agent, more sophisticated technology agent that is co-creating with us. And if this is the perspective, there's nothing about fear. Final point of this, fear comes naturally because we have it in evolution. We had to run away from the big animals and survive not to do crazy things. And it's exploited in so many ways by some of the types of businesses as well. But the fear is not helpful at all. And most of the times it's just fear from unknown. And the more people receive clarity and receive knowledge, the more they can adapt their states of minds. And this is very, very important, especially if we look at the technological evolution. Maybe the other soundbite, the final one for today, for those who would like to continue enjoying some conversations like that, you're always welcome to my website and to my YouTube channel. But I think very important for individuals, and this will be controversial, and this will be, it can create a polarization. That's fine. Motivation is a lie. Why? Because if you really have been in that state, when you say, I would like to exercise a little more, so I would like to go for a run in the morning, so not the long one, just like a half a kilometer or whatever. And if you feel that you are overcoming something, that means you are not honest with yourself. So you don't understand why you want to run those 500 meters in the morning or that 1 kilometer. And this is what I mean when I say motivation is a lie. If you feel like you're pushing against your own nature, you haven't been investing enough understanding, enough time to see why this is relevant to you, why this is meaningful to you. Because if you did, you would not experience that process of overcoming. You would say, this is exactly what I want. And I want it because it's meaningful, it's relevant, it's beneficial, and I see exactly how it fits into my nature, into my routine, and into my desired trajectory in my life. And that's why I really would like to put that out, because so many people struggle. They kind of, okay, I need to do this and that, and they learn from somebody else, and they kind of try to squeeze into their nature, into their daily activities, and it doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, because it hasn't been understood, then people come up with the motivations. Maybe they reward themselves, maybe they punish themselves, they put some limitations. It's no helpful. It's not healthy. So I invite, and that's my invitation at the end of this conversation, is if you are knowledgeable about what you want, and if you have clarity what it means to you and why do you want to do it, then there is no question about motivation. Look at the kids. They don't need a motivation to do what they like and to play with something that they really enjoy, because they see it's relevant, it's meaningful, it's useful, I like it. The same we need to carry on into our adulthood and through the students as well. The students arrive to the school and they kind of, okay, I like this subject, I don't like that subject. Fair enough. You have at least honest perspective on this. If you don't like any subject, that's kind of a bigger issue. But generally speaking, I think also students have the responsibility to give instant feedback to the teachers and saying, okay, this is what works. And again, as a collective, as a social. So if 75% of the students are happy and are willing and are continuing, so 25% maybe just sacrificing their time in that subject because they like the other subjects at the school. So motivation, if you feel that it's a burden for you, there's some homework for you to do. Being honest, listening to your instincts, listening to why this is important, meaningfulness and value and relevance. And if you get these three in alignment with your desired trajectory, you're fine. You're better off than everybody else.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's always so fun looking at things from a different perspective. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful insights. It's been amazing talking to you. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders from around the globe. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you with the next expert soon.